The wind howled through the desolate expanse of the abandoned sawmill, a haunting sound that echoed the turmoil within Maria Oliveira's heart. She stood at the threshold of the dilapidated structure, her breath visible in the frigid air, mingling with the dust and decay that surrounded her. Just moments ago, she had been a weary single mother, struggling to make ends meet, unaware that she was entwined in a drama far larger than her own. Maria's life had been a series of uphill battles since the day her husband, Miguel Oliveira, had passed away. A tragic accident had left her alone with two young children, Sofia and Lucas, their innocent faces painted with the same worry that now knitted Maria's brow. Each month was a new challenge, rent payments looming like storm clouds, and every penny spent was a reminder of the life she had once envisioned. But today, she felt a sense of foreboding that something was amiss. "Get in there, Maria." The voice of her brother-in-law, Ricardo Oliveira, cut through the air like a knife. Pushed forward by a mix of anger and despair, Maria stumbled into the darkness of the sawmill. The building had once been a hub of activity, a place where timber was turned into dreams, but now it stood as a mere shell, a ghostly reminder of past lives. It was here that her in-laws had forced her to come under the pretense of family business. But in reality, she was trapped in a web of manipulation spun by those who should have been her allies. Ricardo, along with his sister and Maria's sister-in-law, Teresa Oliveira, had always looked down on her. To them, she was little more than a burden, a poor single mother with no prospects. They were relentless in their assertion that she was incapable of managing her late husband's estate, a fortune that she had no idea even existed. It was a staggering amount that could change the course of her life. $225 million, sitting in trust under her name, obscured from her by the very people she had thought she could trust. "Do you think you can just ignore us, Maria?" Ricardo sneered, his eyes narrowed as he stepped closer, his presence filling the space with hostility. "You need to understand that you're not a part of this family anymore. It's time to accept your place." Every word felt like a punch to her gut. Maria fought back tears, but her resolve hardened. She had fought for every breath her family took, and she wasn't going to let them push her around like this. The sawmill loomed ominously around her, its walls lined with shadows and memories of laughter that echoed like ghosts. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "I won't let you do this," she declared, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. But the threat was real. Maria knew her in-laws would stop at nothing to secure what they believed was their inheritance. They had tried to convince her to relinquish her rights, spinning tales of her incompetence. "You're a single mother, Maria. You can't handle this. We'll take care of everything," they said. Yet, she had felt the undercurrent of their words, a hidden agenda lurking beneath their faux concern. As she explored the sawmill, the air thick with the scent of damp wood and rust, she noticed something peculiar. The walls were marked with old photographs, faded images of her late husband, Miguel, working in the very place she now stood. In one picture, he was smiling, surrounded by his family and friends, the light in his eyes now a dim memory. Had he ever known the darkness that would envelop his legacy? The deeper Maria ventured into the heart of the sawmill, the more she felt a strange connection to the place. Was it a shrine to her husband's dreams, or a prison set by those who sought to shackle her? The old machinery lay dormant, its once whirring engines silent, as if waiting for a spark of life to reignite them. The reality of her situation threatened to suffocate her. She could either reclaim her power or allow the Oliveira family to extinguish her spirit entirely. "Why won't you just give up?" Teresa's voice broke the silence, sharp as the rusted blades that littered the ground. Maria turned to see her sister-in-law standing framed in the doorway, arms crossed defiantly. "You're wasting your time here, Maria. There's nothing for you. Just let us handle things." It was an invitation cloaked in malice, and Maria could feel her heart racing. What if they planned to trap her here to make her disappear? With a newfound determination, she reached for her phone, fingers trembling. If she was to survive this, she needed to uncover the truth. Not just about her inheritance, but about her husband's past, and the sinister motives of those who wished to silence her. "Why did you bring me here?" she asked, her voice stronger now. "What are you hiding?" The glint of something in Teresa's eyes suggested a secret that could tip the scales. Yet before an answer could come, a distant sound broke through the silence. An engine rumbling, growing louder. "Someone's coming?" Maria muttered, panic creeping into her voice. What if it was someone sent to further intimidate her? With her heart pounding, she turned to the door, desperate to escape the clutches of her in-laws and uncover the truth about her inheritance. She had to act quickly. Her life, and the future of her children, depended on it. Would she emerge from this abandoned sawmill as a victorious survivor or remain a pawn in the Oliveira family's treacherous game? The stakes had never been higher, and the echoes of the past were about to collide with the urgent need for survival. As Maria stood in the dim light of the abandoned sawmill, the air heavy with the smell of rotting wood and damp earth, her heart raced. Every creak of the wood beams above her felt like a warning. She had to navigate this treacherous place, not just to escape, but to confront the very man who had sought to dispossess her of her rightful legacy. Oliveira was not just a distant relative. He was a man driven by greed, and his ambition had already cost her too much. "Maria!" A voice echoed from the shadows, and she froze. Oliveira stepped into the faint light, his silhouette imposing. The remnants of the sawmill surrounded them like a forgotten graveyard of machinery, rusty and still. "I didn't think you'd have the courage to come back here," he taunted, a smirk playing on his lips. "I'm not afraid of you, Oliveira," Maria replied, clenching her fists. "This time, I'm not just a pawn in your game." Oliveira laughed, the sound eerie against the backdrop of the abandoned structure. "You think you can take me on? You don't even know what you're up against. Your inheritance isn't just money. It's a responsibility, a burden you're too weak to carry." He stepped closer, the air thick with tension. "You would be better off letting me handle things. I have the connections, the resources. You're a single mother with nothing." Maria felt a surge of determination. She had nothing to lose and everything to fight for. "You're wrong, Oliveira. I may be a single mother, but I've fought for my children every day. I won't let you intimidate me. I'm here to claim what's mine." His eyes narrowed. "You think you can just walk away with that money? It's not that simple. You'll need guidance, someone who understands the family business. Just imagine what you could do with that wealth, if you had the right people by your side." "People like you?" Maria shot back, her voice steady despite the fear battering at her insides. "You only care about yourself, Oliveira. You'll do anything to keep me under your thumb." They stood there, locked in a tense standoff, the weight of their shared history hanging between them like a noose. Maria could feel the walls of the sawmill closing in on her, the echoes of their family's secrets reverberating through the damp air. "What are you planning to do?" he asked, his tone shifting, curiosity lacing his voice. "Are you just going to dig up old family secrets and hope for the best? You'll need more than just a few scraps of information to take me down." With each word Oliveira spoke, Maria's resolve strengthened. She had spent too long living in the shadows, bound by the expectations of a family that never truly accepted her. "I'm not afraid of the truth," she declared, her voice rising. "I'll uncover every secret, every lie. You've underestimated me for the last time." As she turned to leave, Maria felt a rush of wind sweep through the sawmill, sending chilling whispers through the cracks of the wooden walls. But Oliveira's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist with a grip that was both threatening and possessive. "You think you can just walk away? This is my territory, and I won't let you ruin what I've built." "Let go of me," she cried, fighting against his grip. The jagged edges of the sawmill felt alive, a witness to this battle between them. As she struggled, She caught sight of a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye, an old rusted chainsaw, half buried under a pile of debris. It was a relic of a family legacy she dared not embrace, yet it represented her fight for survival. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, Maria pulled away from Oliveira's grasp, but not before she caught a glimpse of the fury in his eyes. He was losing control, and that made him dangerous. "You don't understand what you're getting into," he warned, his voice low and menacing. "You can't just step into this world without paying the price." "Then let's see what price I'm willing to pay." Maria shot back, her heart pounding in her chest. The words hung between them like a challenge, igniting a fire within her. She wouldn't back down. She wouldn't let fear dictate her fate. As she took a step back, her eyes locked onto the chainsaw. It felt symbolic, a connection to the past that could either bind her to the legacy of the Oliveira family or cut her free. "You may think you have the upper hand," she said, "but I'm done being your puppet." Without thinking, Maria lunged for the chainsaw, grasping its handle. Oliveira's eyes widened in surprise, and she felt a surge of power course through her. With the rusted tool in her grasp, the atmosphere shifted. She was no longer prey but a worthy opponent. "Put that down, Maria," Oliveira barked, his tone shifting from arrogance to panic. "You don't want to be the person who gets hurt here." "I'm not afraid of getting hurt," she countered, her voice steadier than it had ever been. "I'm afraid of losing what truly matters to me. My integrity, my children, and my right to choose my own destiny." As she brandished the chainsaw with a newfound strength, the sawmill seemed to respond, its walls whispering encouragement. Maria sensed the power of her ancestors surrounding her, channeling their strength through her. This place, once a symbol of her family's exploitation, would now serve as the battleground for her liberation. "Step back, Oliveira," she commanded, feeling the confidence surge within her. "You've had your chance to control my life, but now I'm taking it back." The confrontation swelled with palpable tension, both of them entrenched in their worlds, neither willing to yield. With the chainsaw gripped tightly in her hands, Maria prepared to fight not just for her inheritance, but for the freedom to live her life on her own terms. The battle for her family legacy had begun, and she was ready to emerge victorious. Maria stood in the abandoned sawmill, her heart pounding against her chest like a wild drum. The chainsaw trembled slightly in her hands, but her resolve was unshakable. Across from her, Oliveira's eyes narrowed, a malicious grin creeping across his face as he assessed the situation. He had always underestimated her, seeing only a single mother struggling to make ends meet. But now, Maria had taken control. She was ready to fight for her family's legacy. "Maria, do you really think you can intimidate me with that?" Oliveira sneered, stepping closer, his posture oozing confidence. He had come to reclaim what he believed was his, but he had forgotten one crucial detail. Maria was not the same woman he had bullied into submission before. She had strength now, born from desperation and the desire to protect her children. "You're wrong, Oliveira. This inheritance is mine, and I won't let you take it from me," she declared, her voice steady despite the fear lurking just beneath the surface. With a deep breath, she revved the chainsaw, its deafening roar echoing through the steel beams of the sawmill. The sound filled her with an electrifying courage, a stark contrast to the oppressive silence she had endured for so long. Oliveira's bravado faltered for a moment. The sight of the chainsaw, lethal and raw, caused him to reevaluate his approach. But then he lunged forward, desperate to wrest control from her. Maria's instincts kicked in, and she swung the chainsaw with a fierce, determined precision. The blade barely missed Oliveira, but it sent a clear message. She was not afraid. The confrontation spiraled into a chaotic whirlwind of maneuvering, each of them vying for dominance. Oliveira shouted threats, and Maria shouted back, their voices clashing like thunder. The sawmill, once a place filled with the sounds of machinery, now bore witness to their tumultuous battle, a fight not just for money, but for dignity and freedom. As their struggle reached a fever pitch, Maria spotted a weakness in Oliveira's stance. In that fleeting moment, she seized her chance, driving the chainsaw into the ground to steady herself before launching a counterattack. "You think you can bully me? You're mistaken," she yelled, pushing forward with all her might. In a desperate attempt to regain control, Oliveira charged at her, but Maria sidestepped, using his momentum against him. He stumbled, and in that moment of vulnerability, she pressed the chainsaw against the ground, a potent symbol of her power and tenacity. "This ends now, Oliveira. I refuse to be your victim any longer." Realizing the tide had turned, Oliveira's bravado crumbled. "You can't do this. You'll regret it." He spat, but the edge in his voice was gone. Maria's fierce determination was enough to shake his composure, exposing the cowardice that lay beneath his bravado. With the chainsaw still humming ominously, Maria took a step closer to him. "I'm not afraid of you anymore. This is my family's legacy, and I will fight for it with everything I have." Oliveira's shoulders slumped, and he backed away slowly, defeated. The chainsaw was not just a weapon. It had become Maria's symbol of defiance. With a final glare, he turned and fled from the sawmill, leaving Maria standing amidst the remnants of a life she had nearly lost. Hours later, Maria emerged from the sawmill, shaken but triumphant. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the landscape, illuminating her path forward. As she returned home to her children, relief washed over her. She had fought not only for her inheritance but for the very freedom to live her life without fear. In the months that followed, Maria began to rebuild. With the inheritance she was finally aware of, she started to transform the sawmill into a workshop. She filled it with equipment, not for the purpose of creating furniture, but to teach her children the value of hard work and craftsmanship. It became a space for growth, learning, and family bonding, a stark contrast to the fear that had once haunted her. Maria's relationship with her children flourished as they spent time together, learning the skills that had once been lost. They crafted toys and furniture, each piece representing a triumph over the adversities they had faced. The sawmill, now full of life and laughter, echoed with the joyous sounds of her family. Within a year, Maria had established a small business, creating beautiful handcrafted items that began to attract attention in the local community. Word spread about the resilient single mother who had transformed a broken place into a symbol of hope. People were not only drawn to her creations but also to her story, a story of survival, courage, and reinvention. Years later, the sawmill stood as a testament to what Maria had achieved. It was no longer a place of abandonment, but a thriving hub where families came together to learn and create. Maria's children had inherited their mother's strength and creativity, growing into individuals who understood the value of hard work and resilience. However, the shadow of Oliveira lingered in the background. Maria had learned to keep her guard up, wary of the man who had once tried to take everything from her. Yet, she refused to live in fear. She had fought for her freedom, and that fight had cultivated a legacy far richer than any monetary inheritance. In their unity and resilience, Maria and her children had created a life filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a bright future. Standing in the sawmill, now filled with light and life, Maria looked around at what she had built. "This is our legacy," she whispered to herself, a smile spreading across her face. No amount of money could replace the strength, love, and courage they had found together.